And in the Irish Mirror comes this story. Shane MacGowan's widow, Victoria, Mary Clark, has admitted the late singer kept nudging her to play her guitar since his death. I mentioned this en passant last week. Shane MacGowan died, of course, tragically, aged 65 in November. Grief-stricken Victoria couldn't play her guitar since he died until New Year's night, when Shane kept nudging her to pick up the instrument. And she did. She opened a desk drawer, found a plectrum, and did a little bit of plucking of the guitar, and felt that she was influenced by a visitation from Shane. I think this kind of thing happens quite a lot. But who am I to say so? I know somebody who can say so better than me. Claire Broad, my friend the medium. How are you, Claire?
Hi, Howard. I'm great. How are you?
Well, you've always been great, Claire. I mean, you're even greater than ever now. That's all we can say. Hey, so listen, this idea that presences appear and can nudge you towards doing something, I'm aware of this. And I think when we did one of the cruises, I told you the story of how I was clearing out my mum and dad's house. And it was a terribly emotional thing in Formby, near Liverpool, because all their stuff was there. The clock was ticking, and everything was there except them. You know, it was anybody who ever has to do that, and many of us will have to do that, knows how heartrending that is. And I was always on the clock, had to get back to London. And there wasn't enough time to clear everything, and I had to leave their Welsh dresser with all the ornaments and things on it. And I was thinking, this is just one of the saddest and most moving moments of my life. And something said to me as I was about to walk through the front door, go up to the bedroom, go to the top drawer in that chest of drawers that I'd looked at and I wasn't going to bother with. And there's something in there. I swear. I went back to the drawer. I lifted the things that I just ignored before. Up underneath it was a tape. I took the tape home in the car. I had to go. I had to hit the motorway. Closed the front door on my parents' home with tears in my eyes. Got the tape home. It was the only existing broadcast quality, studio quality recording of my parents together. If I had left that to the house clearers, I'd never have known that it was there or it existed. How about that? Now, what did that? And in the case of Shane MacGowan, much more important than me, what did that? You must hear these stories all the time.
I hear them every day, every day. What Victoria's saying is not news to me. You know, people talk about signs all the time, but I hear people tell me all the time that they felt their loved ones coming close to them. It's very common. In fact, I was talking to the great Lloyd Auerbach. I know he's a colleague of Callum's, who you've just had on, and he told me that research shows in the paranormal that within the first 6 months of a person dying, it is more common that the loved one in the spirit world will reach out directly to that person than through the likes of me, a medium. So people are always sensing and feeling their loved ones coming around them when they pass, but many of them, and I would wager probably Victoria did this too, is they start to second guess themselves. They think that they're potentially wishful thinking, that they're, making it up, that they want to feel that to feel better. And it's only when you get like you did, and like she's saying, that real urge to don't ignore this. I'm not going to let you ignore this. Go and do what I'm inspiring you to do, please, that you start to question it, because it just doesn't go away. I had a similar experience when I was 4 years old at the graveyard of my grandfather. And of course, as a child, I had no concept of death and dying, but the same absolute nagging, not going away, inspiration, if you want, or direction is maybe a better word, to take action. So the spirit world do this all the time, but we are obviously taught not to believe or to trust our own instincts.
And a lot of people, quite rightly, and we encourage people to be skeptical about this, not to believe everything that they hear, to question.
Well, I always compare things against on the balance of probability is a good gauge. It's like when I did a reading once, and for a lady called Sandy, she allows me to use her name, and I was also told about a ring that was in a handbag. Sandy said there wasn't a handbag left to her by her mother, but she went away, investigated it. Her father found the handbag up in the loft where I said it was going to be, and inside was the ring, but nobody knew that. I could not know that. Sandy did not know that, so I couldn't have been reading her mind. The spirit world do things in a way that we when we really stop and look at it, we know it goes beyond just wishful thinking, or, everybody has to be skeptical.
Well,
of course we are.
Either that, Claire, and we've had this discussion before, haven't we? That our perception, our minds are much more connected and attuned and sensitive than we ever knew. And if that's the case, and if it's not the spirit world, if it's something like that, then that's pretty amazing. But as you say, how can those who've passed on impel us to do things? I think that's going to be a question that will hang and just very, very quickly. Why do you think then it is done by hints and suggestions and little voices that say, go and check that drawer or go and play that guitar? Why don't they burst through a bit more?
Well, I actually think it comes back to what you just mentioned. I believe that we are actually, another word for the spirit world is, you could call it a collective cloud of consciousness, collective consciousness. We are all connected in that. And so when they tune into or connect into our consciousness, just like you and I are connecting in with the listeners' consciousnesses now, we're able to inspire. We use words, they use our senses, our nervous system, our senses and feelings. It's as simple as that. We are all connected.
Right. Now, Claire, we know this, and it's lovely to speak with you. We must have a longer talk off air very, very soon. Title of your new book, so we know that it's out there. We've done a podcast about it, but I just want you to tell people what it is.
Oh, thank you. It's Heaven Sent, and it's all about souls and the eternal nature of our consciousness.
And that whole question of, what the hell are we here for?
Absolutely.
Claire and I talk, Claire, which I ask quite a lot, Claire, as you know. Claire is on my podcast. Just check out the Unexplained.tv. You'll find a long podcast all about the book. Claire, thank you very much. Claire Broad.